Welcome back to the Artefactors Union. I'm your host and foreman, Douglas Scoundrels. Today we're assembling the Tell No Tales box. For the Resurrectionist faction, the Tormented Keyword. The box contains 5 miniatures, 3 crooked men, I completely forgot their names, and 2 hanged. Crooked men being these minor-looking guys on the front, and the hanged being the hanged guy. Here's the artwork for the other hanged. But that's the artwork renders in the back. Hanged are very narrow with a bunch of ropey things, which I'm afraid are going to be very difficult to assemble. The crooked men being honestly kind of simple looking, so I'm hoping they're a bit easier. Anyways, that's our renders. Let's look at these sprues. Here are our sprues hanged on their own, and then the crooked men on their own. Sadly, looks like the hanged are mixed together, so we're going to have to figure out which goes where. Hopefully the instructions will help us out with that. But the crooked men are compartmentalized, thankfully, so they should be a little bit easier to figure out. But we'll go ahead and start with the hanged. Let's look at their instructions and then go over our assembly order of the first one. For our first hanged gentleman, we're going with the guy that has his tongue hanging out. That was on the front of the box. We're going to take his body and then we're going to complete everything about his body before we attach it to the ropes, or the pile of ropes he's standing in. So we'll go ahead and then add his left hand here, right there, followed by the bit of his shirt there, and then the back of his head and the front of his face. And then we'll go and add him to this larger rope pile here. And then do this smaller rope piece, which will attach to that, and finish with this bigger rope piece, which will attach to his front, and then glue to this smaller rope piece. Okay, let's grab this bit, and then this bit next. Alright, back of the body, now let's add the left hand right there. And it's not obvious how it's supposed to set in there, but you can see that there's ropes on his wrist, and they don't go all the way around his wrist, so that way you know the back of his wrist is supposed to be what's resting up against his butt. Alright, let's grab that bit of shirt and attach it right here. That bit being this one right here. And then we'll go ahead and do back of head and front of face. Oh, it is supposed to be sticking pretty much straight out, and the smaller fork is on the bottom. There you go, that's what it looks like. Now let's add the base of the head first. Okay, now let's put the face in there. And there's his face. I actually think we are going to attach the rope first, that being this rope. The part that attaches to his chest is right there, and it will spin around him a couple of times. The reason we're going to do that is because then we're going to pop out the base rope thing and attach the smaller rope to it, and then try to connect them together as we put his feet inside of that bit. Alright? Okay, so let's add this rope to his neck, which is right there. Okay. The easiest way of doing this is to just slide his body in between the loops of the rope and then attach it there. Now I'm going to exactly figure out how these two bits interact, so excuse me while I do that. Okay, so how I think it's going to go is our smaller bit is going to attach right here, and that is going to be the less sharp of an angle side, for lack of a better. Here. Because it looks like it follows the curvature of the rope. This end is going to attach to the rope basing bit, and this end that's part of the sharper curve, I'll drop it, is what's going to attach the rope that's attached to our model. Right there. Apologize, my child's making noise. She's playing upstairs. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the basing bit first, and then we'll combine both pieces. Okay, that is very roughly how it attaches. It doesn't matter a whole ton, because we're going to jam his feet into the top here. I don't think they go through. I think they just sort of jam in the top and just wedge there. And then we'll connect the rope that's around his neck to this rope here, and that's when we will get this all fiddled with and figured out right. Okay, so let's jam his feet, and I guess he's gonna be kind of facing towards us right here. Oh boy, you missed out on just like maybe 15 minutes of fiddling, and it's still kind of getting knocked out of place. Dang it. Okay, I had to redo a good amount of it. First up, I got the sides of the rope wrong. The sort of sharper turn in the rope is down here at the bottom, connecting to the top of the rope loops, and the less curvy version is going to be up here connecting to his rope. And then the feet don't jam all the way inside of the rope pile, and just sit in up top. But definitely connect him in there. Make sure that he is nice and solid, the hanged, before you try and connect these two bits, because as you can see, they're going to take some fiddling and making sure that you hold them in place while they cure. Though this is not the... I just keep doing that. This is a difficult model. I'll say that now. I'll say it again during my assessment. It's going to be a difficult model just because of this part right here, which is quite hard. So, again, do everything I did up until we cut this bit out. Go ahead and glue his feet in before we do the small bit. Yeah, I think actually that might be the best. Glue his feet in there, and then you can sort of fiddle with this small rope piece to figure out the angle. But I think I got it right once I actually get this part of the... I told my child she needed to be quiet. Anyways, that looks good. I'm going to call it good enough, especially for a really old model like this. Sometimes that's the best we can hope for, so I'm going to put it on base. Our first hanged is done. We're going to call this one Dick, for obvious reasons. I did not have fun doing this whatsoever. Started off fine, but that basing situation with the rope was a huge pain in the butt. Took forever for me to get, set up, and I'm still not 100% sure that's how it's supposed to go, but it looks the best, and that's the best I could come up with, so I'm going to recommend that's what you do. Yeah, that's really, you just got to put a lot of TLC into that rope if you want to get to look right. It's going to take you a while. That's all I can say, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, our other hanged is going to be a lot simpler, thankfully. We're going to grab the body, and then add the arms, and then the head, attach the rope to his neck, and then glue his feet into the rope, as well as the other end of the rope into our smaller rope pile. Okay, let's grab these two bits first. Okay, here's the body, and we'll add our arms right up front here. Well, I guess it's his arm and his tummy. Right, let's do our head next. I'm gonna go right there. Okay, just make sure the head is pushed down as far on the shoulder as you can make it. Check the seam on the back. Seam looks pretty good. Alright, our rope has an attachment point. Really hard to see, but it's right there. You can kind of see that flat part. And that's where we're going to attach the rope. Okay, and you see it does wrap around his legs just a little bit, but just reference the render and should be good as far as how it's supposed to look. And I just knocked it out of place doing that. Good job of me. But once I get that fixed, I'm going to go ahead and add him to the rope pile and add that end of the rope to it as well. On the rope pile here, our connection point for the end of the rope is right there. Alright, that was noticeably easier than the previous hanged. But if I can grab here, there is a flat part of the rope that his foot is supposed to be standing on. And then as I noted before, that's where that rope connects. So that's what our basing looks like. Alright, he's done. Put him on a base. Our second hanged is done, and I don't have a... we'll just call this one Larry. I don't know what happened to Tom. Yeah, the hardest part, again, the rope and the basing. That was a little weird, but considerably easier than the previous one. Still not easy. I'd say a moderate difficulty, but such a relief compared to the other hanged. I definitely recommend. If you only want to ever put one on the table, just do this guy, not the other one. Okay, let's move on to the easier minions. Okay, now that we're done with the headaches, let's do something noticeably easier, and that is the Crooked Men, our other set of minions in this box. Looks like they are not in line, sadly, with the instructions, but we'll go ahead and do them in order on the sprue regardless. Just note that in the instructions, this is Crooked Man 1, this is Crooked Man 2, and this is Crooked Man 3. So, let's look at the instructions and get started with the Crooked Man 1. Okay, for Crooked Man 1, we're going to combine both of his legs and then plop his torso on top of it. And then we can go ahead and do the right arm, the left arm, the pickaxe being held by both arms, and then his head. Alright, so let's grab both legs first. Right leg, plus the left leg. I don't think your ankle is supposed to do that. Now let's add his torso. And there's our torso attached. Let's go and do the right arm, which is the straighter one. Right arm in. Now let's do the left arm, putting it right there. Okay, next is going to be the pickaxe. The axe head is going to be on this side, so we can attach it to both of his stumps, I guess. Okay. Big important thing is checking this seam on the left wrist and the thumb that's attached to the pickaxe aligns with where the thumb would be on the hand. Once that's pretty good, you should be set. Now let's add his head. He's just a little grumpy. Okay, all done. Let's put him on my base. Our first Crooked Man is done. We're going to call this one Steve. Hardest part for him was putting the two legs together, I guess. Just because it's not the most confident of connection until you put the torso on top. An honorable mention goes to the pickaxe. Just getting the fingers to line up was, I guess, notable as far as difficulty. So, that's about it. Let's keep going. For our second Crooked Man, we're going to actually work from the top. And start on the top and work our way down. We're going to grab the two halves of the head, of the helmet, and attach them to his head before we actually cut the head off. I believe that's going to be the easiest solution. We'll cut this one out, attach it to his head, and then cut this one, attaches to it. Then we'll pop the head off and the body, and attach the head to the body, then do the bag and the foot. Alright, so start with these two bits. Okay, this first one is on the back of the head. If we turn him around, you can kind of see it. There is actually a line right across the top of his head that sort of indicates where this bit is supposed to stop, the next bit is supposed to go. So we'll cut out the front of his helmet now and attach it there. There we go. And there's nothing saying that you can't attach the head to the body first and then doing these bits. I was just afraid that the pickaxe was going to make it kind of hard to put those bits on. I definitely don't recommend cutting the head out and then doing the hat bits on the head just because those are small, and if you're anything like me, fingy's kind of big, and it might be a little bit difficult to do all those small bits together. So now let's cut the head off and take the body out and attach the head to the body. Okay, I also realized that not all of you have really nice nippers, so again, it might be safer to put the head on and to do the helmet bits. The reason I say that is because it was kind of just a little awkward to clip the head out off the sprue after the helmet bits were attached, but it wasn't too terribly hard for me because I got decent ones. So yeah, he looks good. Now let's drop him, I guess. Let's do the satchel now, which there's the strap and the strap down here as well. So let's attach that. The satchel and our two connection points, just fine. Alright, last bit is leg. Let's put it there. Legs in there. So that's pretty good. Call him done. Our second crooked man is done. We're going to call this one Tommy. I think that blue thing is my nail polish. I'm not going to clean it up at this point. Hardest part for him was figuring out the helmet and the head. Easily the most difficult part. But yeah, I think the way I went about it was probably the easiest. It's just kind of awkward to maneuver it around the pickaxe, regardless if it's complete or not, but I think assembling it beforehand is the best option. So let's finish this box up. Okay, third crooked guy. I'll grab the body. I'll do both of his bare feet. That's an OSHA violation, I'm sure. And then we'll do the backpack, the lantern he's holding in this hand, the arm with the shovel, and then the head. So let's grab these 3 bits. There's the body. Now let's do the right foot. Apologize, my child is yelling. Okay, we got a right foot in. Seems look good. So now let's do his left foot. Alright. Left foot is also done. Now let's go ahead and do his pack satchel thing. That's going to go right here on his butt. There we go. And then let's do the lantern, which is going to fit into his hand right up here. Fingers look nice and aligned. Okay, let's move on to his right arm with the shovel. And there's the arm. Now we can finish him up with the head right there. Excellent. Well, looks like I need to fix that right arm. But he's done. Let's put him on a base. Our third crooked man is done. We're going to call this one Large Jonathan. The hardest part for him were the feet. They were just slightly awkward to put on there and took longer to cure than I really wanted them to. So just more of an annoyance than an actual difficult piece. Overall, pretty simple model. So let's look at the whole box now. The Tell No Tale box is done, containing 2 hanged and 3 crooked men. Yeah, hardest part were the hanged, especially the first one and his dumb basing situation. You're going to have a good amount of headache with that unless you just decide to throw away the basing thing, which you could definitely do. Might save you some time and stress. The second hanged also wasn't too terribly easy, but not noticeably easier than the first, and then the crooked men were barely worth mentioning difficulty on, because you could say the helmet on the second one was a little weird, but easily doable compared to the hanged. I think that's everything for my assessment, so I'm going to go ahead and go. I've been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Have a good night.